Thanks to my wife, Julie Lovison, director of the Lakeshore Music Studio in Chicago, and her teaching associate, Edith Gwynn Smith, for this introductory duet from Mozart's A Little Night Music. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com, offering my podcast theater review of Amadeus, playing through January 2026 at Steppenwolf. In Latin, Amadeus is translated as love of God or beloved by God. Ascribed here as a formalized derivation of famed composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's middle name. Amadeus, the play, presently at Steppenwolf Theatre, is a story of two men, one believed to be beloved by God, and one who believed he could negotiate through prayer to win God's love. On the surface, it's easy to assume this is a biographical sketch of Mozart, and indeed the story written by Peter Shaffer does allude to the final years of the composer's life. But actually, this is a story of one man's envy and another man's God-given talent. Ian Barford lends his own exceptional talent to the character of Antonio Salieri, court music director in Vienna at the time of Mozart's arrival in 1781. The young composer moved to the city as a freelance musician, confident that his notoriety would provide access to influential members of society needed to build a career. Winning the favor of Salieri, along with Kapellmeister Giuseppe Bono, played by Robert Buehler, Baron von Swieten, played by Jason Payenkopf, and Emperor Joseph II, humorously portrayed by Gregory Leanington, would be essential to Mozart's success. Leanington, as the emperor, is perfectly imperious, adding a bit of comic relief as the regal dilettante whose enthusiastic passion is greater than his actual musical knowledge. By the way, as I'm talking about the men of the court, I must say that I really enjoyed how the entourage seamlessly slipped in French, German, and Italian phrases in short conversations periodically to display their global sophistication and secret plans. This was no doubt expertly aided by dialect coach Kate DeVore. The impertinent Mozart, brilliantly played here by David Darrow, is depicted as an arrogant, even silly man-child. It's been revealed through the dialogue that the social and interpersonal skills of the former prodigy have been stunted by his overbearing father, who managed his life up until this time. This left the young man, now himself a father and husband, unable to manage his own affairs. As a result, he is manipulated and misguided by the scheming Salieri, and allows others to easily take advantage of him, ultimately leaving him destitute, sick, and dying at an early age. His only solace is his nearly equally immature devoted young wife Costanza, tenderly played by Jade Ladymore, who offers what she can to advance his career and encourage her genius husband. However, her Wolfie is consumed with his work and in desperate despair over their financial condition as well as his failing health. Salieri's appearance in the lifeline of Mozart is based loosely on an unsubstantiated myth that he poisoned Mozart, resulting in the early death of his perceived nemesis. It is suggested here, however, that, murderer or not, Salieri may have been guilty of poisoning the young man's prospects for financial success. Bradford does yeoman's work, providing the bulk of the heavy lifting in this production, directed by Robert Falls, that is essentially a long narrative from the point of view of Salieri, delivered in a declarative as opposed to extemporaneous style that leaves it sounding just a bit one note. Salieri is the important steady beat, while Mozart is the melody that adds life to this theatrical composition. Ora Jones and Sawyer Smith as Venticello 1 and 2 offer a kind of leitmotif, appearing and reappearing as spies and observers who whisper like a gentle wind in the ear of the envious Salieri. The chorus of dignitaries as well as the citizens of Vienna are a generally quiet but powerful presence. The ensemble is performed by Andreas Enriquez, Jody Gage, Michael Kingston, Aaron Kirby, Greg Komorowski, Matt Miles, and Aja Singletary. The costume design by Amanda Glado, featuring impeccable tailoring and luxurious fabrics, along with amazing hair and makeup, were extraordinary. With the exception of Mozart's fuchsia-tinted wig, I have to believe that each person on stage could easily walk into any fashionable soiree in 18th century Austria without any suspicion that they were visiting from the future. Scenic designer Todd Rosenthal met the challenge of this production in the round by cleverly utilizing the ceiling to affect a period atmosphere, featuring a lighted stained glass-inspired center panel that provided a point of focus to Salieri's religious devotion. Music is central to the story, and the pre-produced performances of Mozart, augmented by original music by Michael Fixell, are supervised by Connor Wing. I couldn't find any credit related to the performers responsible for the recordings. There are two surprising and delightful harpsichord numbers performed on stage by Barford and Darrow. Mozart's music is used fundamentally to expose Salieri's self-loathing, allowing him to reflect on the young composer's superior talent relative to his own perceived mediocrity. It also serves to introduce the audience to the compositions Mozart created during this period of time, most notably The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, The Magic Flute, and his Requiem, to which Salieri exclaims, "This will help the world to mourn for eternity." At least that's an approximate quote, which I couldn't verify specifically, but it speaks eloquently to the power of the work. Peter Shaffer's story is an interesting and entertaining approach to biography and history. Although fanciful, it retains a number of essential truths. The production will no doubt be of interest to lovers of classical music and music history buffs in general, as well as those who enjoy a good theatrical tale, well performed. There are some adult themes that may not be appropriate for all ages. I would say 15 plus by today's standards might be safe. Amadeus is at Steppenwolf Theatre, 1650 North Halsted Street, Chicago, through January 25th, 2026. Runtime is 2 hours and 45 minutes, including one intermission. Visit steppenwolf.com for tickets and information. You might want to look back for my podcast interview with Maestro Konstantin Orbelian from 2023, where we discuss Mozart and his contribution to the Mozart Immersive exhibit that kicked off that year. While you're poking around, be sure to listen to my reviews of the following plays that will be running through the end of 2025, including Much Ado About Nothing at the Shakespeare Theatre, Jekyll and Hyde at Chopin Theatre, Death Trap at Skokie Theatre, The House That Will Not Stand at Invictus Theatre, and A Christmas Carol at Goodman Theatre. Keep in mind also that Thornton Wilder's Long Christmas Dinner is at the Bramble Lofts in Andersonville. You can listen to my review from last year to hear about this interesting Thornton Wilder play. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com, reminding you that if you need marketing or video assistance for your business or organization, check out renoweb.net. Also, if you think you would enjoy making music of your own or perhaps brushing up on your Mozart, visit LakeshoreMusicStudio.com, located near North Avenue and Clark Street in Chicago's Gold Coast, Old Town, Lincoln Park area, providing piano lessons for all ages, including an online option for out-of-area students. If you've made it this far, please take a second right now to like or share this podcast, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to be alerted when new content is added. Now let's go ahead and listen to Julie and Edith from the Lakeshore Music Studio end this podcast with a little more of their Mozart duet.